Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. Now, what are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we save time to take live questions from the audience, but we don't always have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure if those questions get sent in, they get answered properly in a video, so we gather them up here and we address them in companion videos. So, without wasting any time, let's dive right into it and start getting caught up. And we're going to start getting caught up with Kinky Sphincter, who writes, my ass on hardwood, Zimmer working it, SpongeBob score 2, Robert Meyer Burnett, who's obviously not here right now, favorite hot toy. Mine is Cavill, Man of Steel, 1/4 Vader coming soon, can't wait. And it's funny that you mentioned the Cavill, Man of Steel, because I've got the Jor-El from Man of Steel. You can't see him, he's behind me, popping up over my head. You can't see him from here though, and I can't reach him right now, but that's my personal favorite. I only have 4 hot toys there, unlike Rob, who I think he's got like 500 or 600 6 scale figures or something unbelievably awesome like that. I've got 4. And the reason I have 4 is because I do not want to have 4,000. Because if I buy one, then pretty sure I've bought 3. They're just addictive. And unlike Funko Pops, they're about 250 to 350 bucks a shot. Unlike Funko Pops, which are like 10 bucks a shot. It's a little bit of an expensive habit that I just can't let myself get into too much. All right, Samir Tesfaye writes, you know Disney Plus will have an ad during the Super Bowl. Maybe have Bart tell Baby Yoda to do the magic hand thing. Of that, I have no doubt. Actually, because what Smear's talking about is earlier today on the John Campea Show, somebody asked about which trailers we think we could see during the Super Bowl, and we went into that a little bit, but I think you're absolutely right, Samir. I don't see how Disney Plus doesn't do an ad. I don't think it'll be about any specific property either. I think it'll be just about the service Disney Plus. I think you're 100% right about that. All right, 50 Shades of Geek writes, I literally just now finished watching the companion video where you said no more Pokemon stuff. I think I've already sent in 1 or 2, but as per your request, I'll stop now unless there's a new Pokemon live action movie coming soon. Well, then of course, like if we get another Pokemon movie, then by all means, let's dive in and let's discuss it a little more. Until such time then, I'm officially all Pokemoned out. I am completely Pokemoned out. Although I have to deal with Pokemon on a daily basis because my wife still plays Pokemon Go. She still plays that. So I have to hear a little bit about Pokemon every single day anyway. All right, Jacob Silvers writes, top 10 most awesome movies of 2019. Number 10, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. You mean 2020? Number 9, Conjuring. Conjuring 3. Number 8, A Quiet Place 2. I think you meant of 2020. Number 7, Godzilla vs. King Kong. Number 8, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1984. Number 5, Top Gun Maverick. Number 4, Tenet. Number 3, Black Widow. Number 2, Onward. Number 1, No Time to Die. And there's certainly a bunch there I really look forward to. Like, Steven, the West Side Story one is an interesting thing to me. Because Steven Spielberg is my all-time favorite filmmaker. If you've watched me for any period of time, you know that's how I feel about it. I think he's the greatest filmmaker of all time. And yet, I really don't have any interest in West Side Story. It's weird. There's every reason in the world for me to be excited about it. I don't have a lot of interest in it. Now, watch, it'll become like my top 10 favorite movie of the year. But as of right now, I gotta admit, I don't have a lot of interest in it. I have a lot of interest, obviously, in A Quiet Place 2, a lot of interest in Tenet, a lot of interest in Onward, a lot of interest in No Time to Die. I have some interest in Top Gun Maverick, Godzilla vs. King Kong. I have a lot of interest in Wonder Woman 84 as well. So there's a bunch there, but already 2020 is shaping up to be a pretty interesting looking year for film, Jacob. All right, Ronnie Al-Rawi writes, wow, I Saw the Devil is absolutely amazing and mind-blowing acting. Thanks for the recommendation. And again, that's a movie that I didn't recommend. When he says Ronnie, he's not talking about me. He said another viewer wrote in and recommended it. And that's one of the things that I love about when people write in recommendations, because it's not a recommendation necessarily just to me. It's the thousands of other people who are watching and film fans, and they get exposed to new things. And Ronnie is a great example of that. So thank you for reaffirming that, Ronnie. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right. 50 Shades of Geek writes, over under 10%, the Star Wars High Republic movie features Darth Bane voiced by Mark Hamill. Oh, under 10. Under 10. I don't see them getting Mark Hamill involved, to be honest with you. So I would take over 10% that we have Darth Bane there in one way, shape, or form. Not over 50, but over 10%. But I'm not expecting them to have Mark Hamill involved at all, so I'm going to go under on that. Wouldn't it be interesting if they did, though? Mr. Kaplan writes, did you ever watch Dollhouse or Dark Matter? Yes and yes. I wasn't a big fan of either. Now, of course, so Dark Matter wasn't a Joss Whedon property, was it? I don't think so. I think Dollhouse was. But, yeah, I got to admit, not a big fan of either. Phil Corvelli writes, I've been hearing rumors that Matthew McConaughey might be playing Two-Face in the upcoming Batman film. Is there any truth to the rumor? Officially, no. No, there's no truth rumor. None of those rumors are coming from any reliable sources. However, keep in mind that every once in a while, one of those does end up being true. It's not often, it's very rare, but sometimes it is. So I can't sit here and say, nope, this is absolutely false. But I can say that it's not from any official source, nor any regular reliable source. So I would say don't even think about it right now. Wait until something more definitive come along, and then we can think about it, and then we can talk about it. So as of right now, it could be true, and maybe we'll find out sometime down the road it is. But as of right now, there's not enough there to actually take it seriously. So let's wait on it for a while and see if it develops into something else. But Matthew McConaughey is a great actor. I would take him in anything. All right, 50 Shades of Geek writes, I was in such a rush to write the last question, I didn't write it well enough. I meant Darth Bane would be a CGI character voiced by Mark Hamill, same design as in Clone Wars. Well, I mean, no. I mean, it's the same answer. I mean, I appreciate that you clarified the wording of that, but it's honestly still the same answer. I don't expect them to have Mark Hamill involved in that whatsoever. So there you go. All right. Felipe Lopez writes, hey, John, will we ever see you on SEN with Harloff? Probably not. Also, what do you want to see or expect in The Mandalorian Season 2? Also excited to see Christian Bale in the MCU. I really don't care. I just, when people say, what do you want to see in X coming up movie? My answer is always the same. Whatever the filmmakers want to give us, whatever the storytellers want to give us, whatever the showrunners want to give us. I just want to see what they want to do. So I'm not going to go into it with a pre-written script in my head about what I want. Just continue on with all your Mandalorian goodness. And let's see. As far as me appearing on SEN, no, probably not. Not because I wouldn't like to, and not because Christian wouldn't like me to. It's just that, our shows have a little bit of overlap. So my show starts at 9, his show starts at 10. And I go to like 11:30. So there's just no way I could be on SEN. Now, where you will probably see me on SEN at some point. Do you remember last week I had Christian on? Christian and I pre-recorded a quick segment that we put on the John Campea Show, just a quick little 5-minute segment. We're probably going to do that again this week as well. You'll probably see me pop up on SEN doing a quick little 5-minute segment of something with Christian, but I'm not going to say never, but you are most likely not going to see me in the SEN studio doing a show live because he lives like an hour from me. So I would just have to not do the John Campea Show that day, and that's not really an option. So that's why you're not going to see Christian doing the John Campea Show with me other than in those pre-recorded segments. And that's probably why you're not going to see me on SCN other than those little pre-recorded segments. All right. I hope that I made that clear. Anyway, Marcus Robert Johnson writes, does your wife know about Andrew Yang? Love, bro. I have no idea. John McKinney writes, would a live action Ed and Eddie work? I'm skeptical about it. I have no idea what that is. I will say this though. Anything can work. Anything can work. If a movie about plastic building blocks can work, anything can work if it's executed properly. Some things lend themselves to work better than others, but as far as Ed and Eddie, I don't even know what that is, so I can't give any comment on it. Bruce Lee Fan writes, will we see a realistic Bible movie? In Acts 13 verses 1, Jews are called the N-word, something that can't be whitewashed. I don't think that's true at all. That word didn't even exist back in the days, and I've read the New Testament in the Greek. I've read the New Testament in Greek, and no, that is not in there. I can assure you of that. All right, John McKinney writes, System of a Down is better than Linkin Park. It's like, who cares? I don't care. Personally, I think Linkin Park is vastly better, but hey, whatever. It's just music. I don't care about who ranks what bands over the other. I don't mind. McKeel writes, Where are we at here? Payday, so I got to support. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, man. Would send more. You don't have to send more, dude. Just, I'm glad you're part of the community. That's all. Thank you for supporting anything at all. I greatly appreciate it, my friend. But I'm about to buy one of your mugs and maybe a hoodie. Nice. I'm a sucker for hoodies. By the way, any Weekly Heroes coming soon, or are we waiting for the shows to come back? Keep up the great work. Yeah, Weekly Hero is going to be, so for those of you who don't know, Weekly Hero, we transition that to a podcast form. We transitioned that to a podcast form. But as we announced just before the end of the year, we were going to take a couple breaks off for the new year because we got to get a whole thing synced. So next week, because we transitioned to audio podcasts, we did a couple, but then we need to take a break. But the audio podcast of Weekly Hero returns next week. That's when it's back to start up the year, and then it will be weekly after that. Thank you for asking. All right. John McKinney writes, what do you think revived the comic book genre, X-Men or Spider-Man? Oh, it was X-Men. Yeah, it was 100% X-Men. We talked about earlier today on the John Campea show. Now, I'm not saying X-Men was better than Spider-Man. I'm not saying any of that. But when you listen to the Hollywood producers and the studio executives, particularly Charles Roven, who was the producer of the Dark Knight films, I heard him talk about once, and I've heard other filmmakers talk about this before, is that when that X-Men movie came out, it was like a bell that went off. And, you know, Roven tells a story about how it was seeing that movie changed everything. Because they're like, wait a minute, you can do comic book movies like this? Like the opening of that film with Magneto in the concentration camp as a kid and the metal bending and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a flare going up in the air announcing to the film world, comic book movies are entering a new era. You can do comic book movies like this now. And that's the one that really kicked it off. And again, the best way people to ask about what started the revitalization of the comic book film in Hollywood, talk to the Hollywood producers, and they'll tell you it was that first X-Men film. All right. Kamchia 430 writes, that scout trooper scene in Mandalorian summarizes why the Empire lost. Missing easy shots, beating civilians, no communication, brilliant scene. It was great. And I was sitting there chuckling my head off as they were sitting there trying to shoot the little targets and they're missing everything. Of course, that's a very Taika Waititi thing to do. That's a very Taika Waititi thing to do. But the whole play on the stormtroopers can't hit anything, despite what Obi-Wan said about these blast marks, far too accurate for... whatever. Only Imperial stormtroopers can be so precise. Come on, Obi-Wan. Which Imperial stormtroopers were you looking at? Anyway, Suthius writes, can't change a tire. Is that a Canadian thing? Nope, it's just a me thing. Also, I don't drink beer. Drinking beer is very much a Canadian thing. Drinking Tim Hortons coffee is definitely a Canadian thing. I don't do either. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink beer. I don't drink alcohol. Only because I don't like the taste of it. That's it. I don't have any objections to alcohol. I just don't like the taste of alcohol. And I've never so much as gotten the slightest buzz from alcohol. I got alcohol poisoning once because somebody challenged me and they thought they could get me drunk. So they were pouring like everything from wine to Jaeger to beer to bourbon shots and blah, blah, blah. And I got alcohol poisoning. Oh my God, I got alcohol poisoning. Because we got about 2 hours into it. I'm like, I don't feel anything. Like, just, this is why I don't drink. This is why I don't drink. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh. And I got on my hands and knees and I crawled into the bathroom and I worshiped at the altar of the porcelain god. And oh my God, that was a bad night. That was a bad night, but I just don't drink. I don't like the taste of alcohol, and I cannot change a tire. But I insist you, almost every other Canadian at the age of 5 can change a tire, which is a really sad commentary on the fact that I really can't. All right, Joshua Kleike writes, Jason Isaacs as Magneto need a visual reference. Harry Potter. Well, no, I mean, again. I don't like X actor playing X role. I mean, whatever. Listen, Jason Isaacs is a great actor. So you have him playing anything, I'm on board. Because he'll bring his great acting talent to it, and I'm totally on board. All right. And he was really good in Harry Potter, too, by the way. All right. John McKinney writes, unpopular opinion, I like The Dark Knight, but I don't love it, and I find it to be overrated. Batman Begins is a superior movie, and to each their own. Hey, no, exactly. You're right. That's not the popular opinion. The popular opinion is The Dark Knight is the best film of that trilogy. But that doesn't mean it's going to be that for everybody. And listen, Batman Begins is great. I'm not the biggest fan of The Dark Knight Rises, to be honest with you. I mean, I like it. I give it a thumbs up. I like it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And I know some people think that's the best film in the trilogy, but you're right. To each your own. That's the pure subjective nature of it. But believe me, John, it is the unpopular opinion, but you are not alone. I know personally a number of people that think that Batman Begins is an even better film than The Dark Knight. I mean, I'm not one of them, but I know a lot of people that do, so you are not alone in that thought. All right, Simon Kendrick just sends in a message, just a super chat, just to be supportive. Thank you so much, Simon. Appreciate that. Darth Sidious writes, in my last message, I was talking about Aaron and Chris. I'm not quite sure which last message that was, but I probably got what you were talking about. I think. John McKinney writes, sends in a really large super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel on that level, man. We appreciate that. Am I the only one who normally doesn't like sympathetic villains? I'm not totally against it, but I want them to be menacing, not wimps. Not always, but normally making them sympathetic makes them less menacing. I'm not sure. I don't know that I agree. See, every once in a while, depending on the movie, a totally one-dimensional twirling mustache, I'm going to burn down the orphanage. Like every once in a while, that is the type of villain a certain movie will need. I find it a lot more compelling when we understand the villain more. And because when you have a little bit of sympathy for the villain, depending on their scenario, it can actually, in my opinion, increase the sense of dread surrounding that villain. Not always, and not as a rule. But I find that that very much can be the case if it's handled the right way. But again, that's not always the case. Sometimes just a good old-fashioned, I'm the bad guy and I'm here to stomp on your face with my butt. I mean, maybe. Then sometimes there are movies that is the best type of villain for it. But I find sometimes a sympathetic villain can add to the sense of... It's kind of like the villain who thinks they're the good guy. See, to me, the scariest villains are the ones who absolutely believe themselves to be the good guy. Not the ones that are going, I'm evil and I'm going to burn down the orphanage. Mwah. You're like, yeah, those work in some movies, perfectly in some movies. But again, I find that the villains who see themselves as the righteous, as the heroes, as the good guys, like the operative played by Chiwetel Ejiofor in Serenity, like Thanos, it's those types of villains, the ones that have conviction, they're the scariest villains. And I find that sympathetic villains can actually also add to it. Maybe there are some times if they're not executed right, they can make them seem less menacing. Maybe. But to me, I also think it can work the opposite way as well. So I just like a good, complex, deep villain. And sometimes, like General Zod in Superman 2, I just want a good bad guy. So it all depends on what the movie calls for. Okay, good on you for bringing that up, John. All right. Next up, we have Suthius, and this is the last question, and then we're all caught up because Willow's question came in after the show ended, so that will be the first question we get to on tomorrow's show. All right, Suthius writes, will the docu be on Pisces, the Forgotten Dancer? Okay, so what Suthius is referring to is I am making a documentary right now. We're just in pre-production, but we actually start shooting next week. I've been planning this for a couple of months. We've been in pre-production. I'm still heavy in pre-production. I'm totally not ready to start shooting next week, but we start shooting next week. And yeah, I'm not yet. Right now, I'm not revealing what the topic of my documentary is, but I'm hoping, this is probably so totally unrealistic. I'm hoping I'm going to have a cut of it ready to play at Comic-Con in San Diego. I hope. Maybe I'll take it out there, book a small little theater somewhere and send out the invite to everybody at Comic-Con. If you want to come see this little doc I worked on, this little piece of crap that it's probably going to be a little piece of crap, but whatever. I'm making it, so I'm proud of it. I'm hoping to have something ready for Comic-Con. I don't know for sure and whatever. Now, some people were asking me, John, and thank you to those of you who did write in to ask, because I had about 4 or 5 people write in and ask, John, do a Kickstarter for your documentary so we can help support it. I appreciate that, but I don't want to go that route. I don't want to go to a Kickstarter. If you want to help support the documentary, best thing you can do is just become a Patreon supporter. That's the best thing you can do, is become a Patreon supporter of the John Campea Show. Other than that, no worries. I got it covered. But I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait to... I'm hoping in the next maybe 2 months I'll be able to tell you what it's about. But right now I'm kind of keeping that under wraps. But anyway, and Pisces... he's mocking me a little bit. Back in my breakdancing days, yeah, I was a breakdancer. Back in my breakdancing days, my nickname was Pisces. We were called the Zodiac Crew, and we all had a different Zodiac name, and my Zodiac symbol was Pisces, so I went by Pisces. Not the most menacing name, but it is the name that I went by. Anyway, that will do it, guys, for this installment of the companion videos. We're now all caught up and ready for tomorrow's show. Just reminding you guys again, for tomorrow's show is a little bit of a special show. We are still going to do the live questions at the end. But instead of the various news topics at the beginning, the first part of tomorrow's show is I'm going to have a guest on, and it's going to be Mark Fernandez, the CEO of Collider. He's going to come in, talk a little bit about the Collider situation. I thought it would be good and beneficial and helpful to have him come in and do that. I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation, and I hope you guys will come and join us for that. Anyway, by all means, you guys can use the tip link below in the top line of the description of this video to start sending in questions for tomorrow, and they'll be the first ones answered tomorrow. So yeah, that will do it for me for now, guys. Thanks so much for being here. My name is John Campea, and until next time, guys, bye-bye.